The modern map of Europe is the result of centuries of wars, treaties, and shifting borders. Many of today's nations were shaped by conflicts that often spanned decades or even centuries, involving rivalries between kingdoms, empires, and city-states. This summary outlines key European wars that played a crucial role in forming the nations we know today. 1. The Hundred Years' War, 1337 to 1453. One of the longest and most impactful conflicts in European history was the 100 Years' War, fought between England and France. This series of battles was primarily over territorial disputes and claims to the French throne. By its conclusion in 1453, France had largely consolidated its territories, leading to the formation of a more centralized French state. England, having lost most of its continental possessions, turned its focus inward, which eventually led to the development of a distinctly English identity. 2. The Italian Wars, 1494 to 1559. The Italian Wars were a series of conflicts primarily involving France and Spain, although other European powers like the Holy Roman Empire and England also played roles. These wars were fought over control of the Italian peninsula, which at the time was divided into city-states like Venice, Florence, and the Papal States. The wars resulted in Spanish dominance over much of Italy, and while they did not create modern Italy, they set the stage for later unification in the 19th century. 3. The 30 Years' War, 1608 to 1648. The 30 Years' War was one of the deadliest conflicts in European history, rooted in religious and political disputes within the Holy Roman Empire. It started as a Protestant Catholic conflict, but evolved into a broader power struggle involving France, Spain, Sweden, and other European powers. The Peace of Westphalia, 1648, that ended the war had far-reaching consequences, including the recognition of the sovereignty of numerous states within the Holy Roman Empire. This treaty also marked the decline of Spanish dominance and the rise of France as the leading European power, helping to shape modern Germany by fragmenting the Holy Roman Empire into independent states. 4. The Great Northern War, 1700 to 1721. The Great Northern War pitted Sweden against a coalition led by Russia, Denmark, Norway, and Poland, Saxony. The war ended Swedish dominance in the Baltic region and allowed Russia, under Peter the Great, to emerge as a major European power. This shift in power led to the establishment of modern Russia's western borders and Sweden's decline as a military force, shaping the future of Eastern Europe. 5. The Napoleonic Wars, 1803 to 1815. The Napoleonic Wars were a series of major conflicts involving Napoleon Bonaparte's French Empire and various coalitions of European nations. Napoleon's conquests reshaped Europe, dissolving the Holy Roman Empire and redrawing borders across the continent. Although Napoleon was ultimately defeated at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, the Congress of Vienna that followed redrew the map of Europe, restoring monarchies and creating new borders. This period was instrumental in the development of modern European countries, including Italy and Germany, which would later unify as nation-states. 6. The Unification Wars of Italy, 1848 to 1871. The unification of Italy was driven by a series of wars and revolts known as the Italian Wars of Independence. Key figures like Giuseppe Garibaldi and Count Camillo di Cavour played crucial roles in uniting the various kingdoms, duchies, and city-states of the Italian peninsula. The Kingdom of Sardinia, allied with France, fought Austria for control of northern Italy, while Garibaldi's military campaigns in the south led to the unification of the entire peninsula under the Kingdom of Italy in 1861. 7. The Franco-Prussian War, 1870–1871. The Franco-Prussian War was a conflict between the Second French Empire and the Kingdom of Prussia, which was backed by other German states. The decisive Prussian victory not only led to the downfall of Napoleon III and the creation of the French Third Republic, but also to the unification of Germany under the Prussian king, who became Kaiser Wilhelm I of the newly formed German Empire in 1871. This war dramatically altered the balance of power in Europe, making Germany a dominant force on the continent. 8. World War I, 1914 to 1918. World War I, also known as the Great War, was a conflict of unprecedented scale that involved most of Europe, as well as colonies around the world. The war began following the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary, but it was fueled by complex alliances, militarism, and imperial rivalries. The war ended with the defeat of the Central Powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire, and led to the redrawing of borders in Europe. The Treaty of Versailles and other peace agreements dismantled the Austro-Hungarian and Ottoman empires, created new nations like Poland and Czechoslovakia, and imposed heavy reparations on Germany. 9. World War II, 1939 to 1945. World War II was the most destructive conflict in human history, involving most of Europe and much of the world. It began with Nazi Germany's invasion of Poland in 1939 and quickly engulfed Europe in a war between the Allied powers, led by the United States, the Soviet Union and the United Kingdom, and the Axis powers, Germany, Italy, and Japan. The war fundamentally reshaped Europe, leading to the fall of Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy. After the war, the Yalta and Potsdam conferences set the stage for the division of Europe into Western and Soviet spheres of influence, leading to the Cold War and the eventual formation of the European Union in the West. 10. The Cold War and the fall of the Soviet Union, 1947 to 1991. Though not a traditional war, the Cold War deeply influenced European geopolitics. The division of Europe into Eastern Bloc, Soviet-influenced, and Western Bloc, led by the United States and NATO, dominated the political landscape. Countries in Eastern Europe were under Soviet control until the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. This collapse led to the independence of several nations and the reunification of Germany in 1990. Conclusion. European history is defined by numerous wars and conflicts that shaped the boundaries, politics, and identities of the nations we see today. From the territorial disputes of the Middle Ages to the devastating world wars of the 20th century, each conflict contributed to the formation of modern Europe. Today, the European Union and other diplomatic institutions aim to ensure peace on a continent once ravaged by centuries of war.